Otto von Bismarck is mostly recognized for his contribution to German unification. However, his vision in creating a social safety net for the German workers was far ahead of its time. Ultimately, Bismarck's social policies provided the glue that would hold the new German state together. Bismarck knew that if the German people were expected to be responsible citizens, then they would in return expect certain rights. Bismarck used war, diplomacy, and in some cases, trickery to engineer the new German state. But in the end, it was the social safety net that protected workers from sickness, accident, and old age that linked their interest. If it was going to be the rights of the people to get health, disability, and old age insurance, then it was the responsibilities for the people to embrace the policies of the new government. How did Bismarck go about the diplomacy that led to German unification? And why did he see the value in implementing social policies to protect workers? In order to answer these questions, it's important to go back and take a brief look at Bismarck's background in his formative political years. Otto von Bismarck was born April 1st, 1815, into a prominent Prussian Junker family. Because of his family position, Bismarck favored the conservative politics of the day. All the talk of democracy did not interest Bismarck. He favored the old system of kings and aristocrats. Bismarck was well educated and well acquainted with the cities of Europe. He was fluent in English, French, Italian, Polish, and Russian. He studied law at the University of Göttingen and completed his studies at the University of Berlin in 1835. At the age of 32, Bismarck was chosen as a representative to the newly created Prussian legislature. He quickly gained a reputation as a politician that supported the divine right of the king. In 1862, King Wilhelm I appointed Bismarck Minister-President and Foreign Minister of Prussia. King Wilhelm I quickly recognized Bismarck as a man he could trust. To understand German unification, it is important to go back a little bit. In 1806, at the end of the Holy Roman Empire, the German-speaking territories consisted of over 300 independent states. Some of these independent states were large, such as Prussia, and others were small, like the duchies and bishoprics. Throughout the 1800s, there was a great discussion about German unification. Even though the German states were politically very diverse, the German people shared a common linguistic and cultural history. As Minister-President and Foreign Minister, Bismarck was in the perfect position to pull off the diplomacy required to make a unified Germany a reality. But to get there, Bismarck realized he needed to draw in his neighbors into conflict, press the balance of power in Europe, and create fear among the other German states of isolation. Bismarck's first obstacle was the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Because a significant portion of the Austro-Hungarian Empire spoke German, Bismarck understood that they would be the greatest competition to Prussian supremacy of a new German state. In 1864, Prussia and Austria joined forces in the Schleswig-Holstein War against Denmark. After a quick and decisive victory, the Austrians took control of Holstein and the Prussians took control of Schleswig. But the peaceful relationship between Austria and Prussia would not last long. By 1866, Austria and Prussia are at war with each other over a dispute about the territories. In only 6 weeks, the Prussian army defeated the Austrians and annexed all the territories that had sided with the Austrians. The next conflict that Bismarck orchestrates was with France. In 1870, after a series of very crafty diplomatic maneuvers, Bismarck was able to draw France into war and make it look like it was France provoking the conflict. The Franco-Prussian War showed the strength and the power of the Prussian state and military. In 1871, at the Palace of Versailles, surrounded by many of the German nobility, Wilhelm I took the title of German Kaiser. Germany was finally unified under Prussian leadership, but the new government would be a federation with representation from all regions. After unification, Bismarck established himself as the primary shaper of German politics. The term realpolitik is often associated with Bismarck because he was willing to find the most practical solutions. Bismarck realized that the new German state would need more than just language and culture to hold it together. The politics of the day was fragmented and volatile. On one side were the monarchists that supported the Kaiser, and on the other side were the socialists and the communists. Bismarck needed something that would unite all Germany. If it was the responsibility of the German people to be obedient to the new state and embrace its policies and conflict, then the people would need the assurance that they had the rights in the new state. Bismarck realized that the workers across Germany all shared the same fears. They were worried about losing their jobs, getting sick, and not having enough money to retire. In addition, because of the continued conflicts in Europe and the prospect of more political freedom, thousands of workers were leaving Germany for better opportunities in America. In 1883, Bismarck passed the sickness insurance law that provided sickness insurance for the German industrial laborers. The law was assured a minimum payment for the medical treatment and sick pay for up to 13 weeks. Then 1 year later, the accident insurance law was passed, which kicked in to replace the sickness insurance after the 14th week. This paid for medical treatment and a pension of up to 2/3 of the earning wages if the workers were fully disabled. In 1886, these laws were expanded to include agricultural workers. By 1889, the Old Age and Disability Insurance Law was passed, which created a pension or continued income for the retired workers of over 70. These laws provided the glue to the new German state. In conclusion, Bismarck was a very crafty statesman that orchestrated German unification, but it was his social policies for sick, disabled, and elderly workers that held the new German state together. For the new German state, it would be the rights of the workers to have a social safety net, but in return, it would be the responsibility to be obedient and supportive of their new government.